that was coming up. So everybody was scared all the time.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to be a man. They wanted to prove themselves. They wanted to be something special. No one felt special. Everybody felt like a loser. We're all like waiting to become an adult so you could get a job like all these other people you knew that were around you, or escape, or figure out a way to escape. And I only went back to school because I didn't want people thinking I was a loser. So I did like maybe one semester at Mass Bay. I don't even think I finished the semester. And then I left and went to UMass. UMass Boston had this like adult education program where you didn't have to have a GED or not GED, SAT, because I never took my SATs. So when I graduated from high school, I'm like, I am never going to school again. I'm like, fuck this. I got so tired of feeling like a fucking loser. Like when I tell people I would always say I was taking a year off, but I just had no direction. All I was doing was like doing martial arts and competing. And I just was so terrified of what the fuck the future meant. And so I went to UMass for like 3 years, but not like 3 full years. It was like there was still a lot of credits to be acquired when I graduate. And I just was wasting my time. I was barely paying attention. I was completely half-assing whatever project we had. And then I would be like, why am I wasting my time? And then I got some letter saying that I couldn't come back with the grades that I had unless I came up with some very compelling reason. So they wanted me to make an argument for why they should include me back in the class. And I wrote out in handwritten, because back then no one had a fucking typewriter, this total bullshit letter. This ridiculous, persuasive, bullshit letter about how important education is to me, and how important it is, and then I realized, the amount of effort that I put writing this bullshit letter to keep these people from kicking me out of their school, which I wasn't paying attention to, far exceeds any effort that I ever put on any project ever in class.
Yeah.
And I realized, okay, whatever I'm going to do with my life, it's not going to involve doing this.
Yeah.
It's not going to involve someone else dictating my schedule. Yeah, well, I had a conversation with a science teacher. The science teacher, and it was the same kind of thing. I mocked him in class. Not necessarily mocked him, but I brought up something that was contrary to what he was teaching. He was talking about Lake Erie being the dead lake. And I said, we had a documentary on PBS last night about Lake Erie making a resurgence, and the scientists have figured out these new ways to minimize water pollution and all this shit. And okay, what the fuck? And he got pissed at me. He got really pissed at me. He said, you're undermining my class, and this and that. I go, hey, man, you're teaching old shit.
Yeah.
You're teaching old, this is on TV, man. This is on TV, yesterday.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him afterwards, and because I had to talk to him in order to get back in class. And he said 2 things. He said, one, first of all, I don't know whether or not that was the case, whether or not it's true, and if I allow you to just interrupt my class and chime in something like that, and it's not true, I haven't fact-checked it, you're telling the whole class. And I don't know if you're right or you're wrong or you're making things up, but you're interrupting my class. That's the point. If you have something to tell me about it, maybe you can tell me about it after the class, and then I can go and look it up, and then maybe I can correct the class. But 2, you interrupted the class. You showed yourself to be more articulate and more intelligent than you ever showed in the entire semester. So you're totally half-assing everything you do. Your writing, everything, paper you turn in, every test you do, every time I call upon you for a question, totally half-assed that. But when you wanted to correct me on something, all of a sudden you knew all the words, you knew how to form the sentence correctly, you knew how to say it with the right impact. It's like, your focus is off. It's like, God damn, that dude's on the money. And I realized, I'm like, yeah, so I'm not stupid. Right? I can't listen.
I can't do it their way. I got to do it my way, right?
But I could. I just didn't. I grew up not having any direction.
Yeah.
So if someone doesn't tell you what to do all your life, essentially you just out free. I would go fishing. I'd hang out with my friends in the woods. We'd just go find shit to do. And then all of a sudden you're in school and they're telling you everything you have to do all day. Like, I'm not ready for that. There's a real movement right now towards minimalism. Where people are trying to pare their life down as much as possible. What do you really appreciate? What's important to you? And what's really important to you? Yeah. Because you don't have forever, right? So what is important to you? Because you only have 24 hours in a day. So what's important to you? Find out what that is and do more of that. Yeah. And try to figure out how to make enough money so that you're not starving,
that you're doing well, but don't just chase that. Chase what you're trying to do. Like the point system attached to it, the monetary point system, get you to working like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day. To get what? To get more stuff. To get better stuff, to get more prestigious stuff, to get stuff that, all your other stuff having friends are really jealous of your stuff. Good to treat other people the way you'd like to be treated yourself. It's like a golden rule, and there's a reason for it. And that reason is that we're connected in some strange way that we don't totally understand. And unless you are good to other people around you, unless you're kind and friendly and warm and loving, you're not going to enjoy this life. You're just not. You're going to be problems everywhere you go. You're going to have problems everywhere you go. You got to figure out a way to enjoy this life. It's not because of Jesus. It's not because of Moses. It's not because of anybody that may or may not have ever existed. It's because that's how you fare better in the world. That's how you stay positive. And it doesn't have to be some that was written 5,000 years ago on animal skins. That doesn't have to be the golden rule because it's old. That's dumb. We need to figure out, like, now, today, what is, the best way to live your life? What is there's got to be ways you can be putting forward the most positive energy. I mean, we know objectively what's causing pollution. We know objectively what's causing birth defects, and we're taking in too much chemicals and not enough vitamins. We know objectively all this stuff. We know how to organize our world, and yet we don't do it. We know how to organize our health, and yet very few people do it. We know all these things. The right path to, like, being like a happy, healthy person is to do all the shit that we already know you're supposed to do. Take care of your body. Take care of your health. Take care of your mind, your stress. Meditate, be kind to people. We all know that. When you ask anybody, they know how to get by and to be the most evolved version of you that you can be. I mean, it's not like a magical checklist. You talk to people about it. You say, okay, you got a person, you want to improve them. What are the things you're going to do to them? Okay, well, if I was a life coach, the first thing I'd say is this guy's got to get on a diet that makes him healthy. I don't mean a diet just to lose weight. I mean just healthy food in your body. Many vegetables, a lot of good quality protein, a lot of water. Stop the sodas, stop the booze. Start working out your body and get a better sense of, like, how this machine feels when it's moving, it's flowing better, there's less tension in it, your mind feels like you're relaxed and you enjoy every single moment of the day better. Step one, everybody knows that step, right? What's step two? Be cool to people. Be nice to as many people as you can. Smile at as many people as you can. Have them smile back at you. Tip well when you go to restaurants. Just do the most you can. Be as nice as you can, and just still manage to not have people walk all over you. Just get through this life as nice as you can. What else? Do what you want to do with your life, right? Don't be doing something you don't enjoy. Don't do something don't get locked into, a car that you can't afford and doing something crazy because you need the money. Don't do that. Do what you want to do. Do what the is it that you really want to do? Because if someone else is doing it, you can do it. I mean, everybody makes their own path through this world, but a lot of people don't follow the path that they really feel pulled to. Just for whatever reason, they got negative programming. When they were kids, someone told them they couldn't do it, or told them to take the shortcut, or take the short route. That's a sad thing, man, when you talk to dudes, especially like talented dudes, and they don't follow up with what they want to do, A bunch of people that will say, yeah, well, I have family, so, it's a great idea for you to just go out there and go crazy. I have people to support. Listen, stop saying that. Stop saying any of those things. Every single person who has ever done anything worthwhile or exceptional or difficult or extraordinary, anyone, whether it's great artists or authors or mathematicians or whatever it is, everyone encounters difficulties. There is no easy road. It does not exist. It is impossible. Everyone has issues. If you have time to pursue a hobby, if you have time to do anything in your life, you can better yourself. And here's one way you never better yourself. When you come up with excuses for why other people are successful and you're not, that is dangerous. When you give yourself an escape, yeah, well, that's easy for you to say, you do this, you do. Trust me, everybody has a hard road. I wanted to jump out a window several times during my young life. I wanted to jump in front of the train and just end it because there's too much pressure. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Theoretically, we all go through hard times. We all go through depression. We all go through doubt and moments in your life where it's really difficult when you're trying to figure out what your path is going to be. It's hard as shit. But Steph and I were talking about this before the podcast starts, that is what makes you a person. And those difficult moments are what build your character. Show me a great man who's the son of a great man. And that's what we're saying. These kids that are born billionaires, you're never going to be a self-made person. You have a backup trust for your backup trust for your trust. And man, I'm fascinated by martial arts. I'm fascinated by comedy. I'm fascinated by many, many different things. I don't understand when people say they're bored, because if I had the time to live 100 lives, I'd be speaking different languages. I'd be living in different countries. I would try a number of different careers. Because I think there's a lot of unbelievably fascinating, puzzling, complex things that you can study in this world. That's just me and my personality. But that's a personality also that I've cultivated over years.
Would you like that as a kid too?
Well, I was involved in martial arts very early. Yeah. And I think that is one of the things that motivated me to explore difficult tasks. Because through difficult tasks, you learn an incredible amount about yourself. And you, through the fire of competition, you get to understand motivation, you get to understand the resistance that you have inside your mind to doing hard work, you get to understand the rewards of discipline. Like, you don't truly appreciate relaxation unless you work hard. And that is the yin and yang of life. And I've said this to the point of people getting sick of it, but one of the worst decisions a man can make, I can only speak for men, obviously, is to be comfortable. I don't think you should try to be comfortable. I think what you should try to do is try to earn comfort. And if you can get a day off where you've worked hard and you've accomplished goals, that day off would be so sweet. When I work hard and I sit in front of the TV, I enjoy the shit out of it. I put my feet up, I have a nice drink, I enjoy my free time.
That mids your back or something like
that.
Yeah,
one of those.
Do you really?
Those are great.
They're great, right?
Yeah. I don't use it that much though. Honestly, I'm more of a workaholic than I should be probably. If the balance was, I probably should relax more than I do, but I never feel like I earned it. But that's part of the reason why when I do feel like I earned it, I can enjoy it. It's because I am more connected to the idea that I need to accomplish things, and it's not like for anybody else's benefit other than my own, or anybody else's approval other than my own. When I have a task, whether it's today I'm going to write 1,000 words, or 2,000 or whatever the number is. If I don't do that, I write things down. I'll write down a list of things that get accomplished that day, and if I don't accomplish that, I'll get sick. Like, it'll drive me crazy. If I can't fill out that list, that drives me nuts, but that's what led me to be a championship level martial artist. That's what led me to achieve those. It's like that. It's the reinforcement of those goals, like understanding that you can achieve those goals. It's going to be difficult. You're going to push through the difficulty, and then you're going to understand what difficulty truly is. How much of it is just mental? How much of it is just in your mind? This adversity to difficult task or to struggle. And a lot of people have that. They're scared. They're scared of complications. They're scared of failure. Failure is a big one that people are afraid of, but failure is one of the most important things you could ever have as far as like the motivation to do things differently. One of the reasons why I think that I'm good at friendships and relationships is because I've failed at them in the past. One of the things that I'm good at comedy is because I've bombed on stage. One of the reasons why I'm good at work is because I've been a shit worker in the past. And I know the feeling of failure, the feeling of shame, of being like a weak, non-motivated, lazy person. That's a weak feeling. You don't respect yourself. And I have this phrase that I use all the time to people to try to motivate people. I say that be the hero in your own movie. Pretend that if your life was a movie and your life started now, what would the hero do? What would the person that you respect do? What would the person that you admire, the person that inspires you, what would they do? Well, do that shit. And if you do that, you slowly build momentum. Today I did what I wanted to do. Today I started a class in yoga. I did this. I did all these things that I was saying I wasn't going to do. And now I feel momentum. And momentum is a very important point in people's lives. That's why some folks don't like to take days off, because they feel like they're losing momentum. And you sort of have to restart the wheel up again after a vacation. And there's a lot of folks that live life on a cushy cloud of marshmallows and bullshit. And then one day something goes wrong. And I mean, that's why spoiled kids are so sad. Like a spoiled young boy is one of the saddest things ever. A young boy that becomes a man and can't take care of himself, and his dad has to keep on rescuing him. His dad has to keep on bailing him out of situations and giving him money. I've met guys like that. And that is a crippling affliction when they don't have the character themselves to be able to get by in life. They constantly need someone to help them and bail them out. Even as a grown man, I've met guys in their 40s that still need help from their parents. I'm like, what the man? You're never going to get it right because somewhere along the line they didn't face enough of the adversity to realize that there's sometimes you just got to get up and get shit done. There's sometimes where you have to form yourself up and you have to push forward even if you want to stay in bed. And if you don't do that, you just keep calling on your daddy and your daddy keeps rescuing you, you never develop those tools. You never develop that ability to recognize what you're doing wrong with your life. Because you're soft, you got a cushion, you got a safety net for your safety net. Say if you had like a 20-year-old who's just a gopher, where he wake and bakes and doesn't get anything done, he's just always like hanging out with his friends and playing video games, and he's just a I wish there was a way you could show someone like that. Like, I know that you're getting some comfort and satisfaction out of just laying around, doing nothing, eating, and getting fat. But your life would feel better and richer if you had a goal, you chase that goal, you accomplish some things, you would get this boost of confidence, you get this boost of self-esteem, like whatever it is that you're into doing. Maybe you're into drawing comic books, maybe you're into making pottery or sculpture, but find whatever the fuck that is and pursue that instead of doing nothing. Like the people that are doing nothing, those are the real people. Like doing something might be as simple as like that Alex Honnold guy, which climbs rocks. And he's world-class rock climber. It's something. But it's also a goal of his, and he's also the best at it. Yes, yeah. But those people who smoke pot all day and do that, those are also the guys who hate on Joe Rogan for being in shape. You know what I'm saying? Or being disciplined. Or get on Kevin Hart's Instagram and hate on him. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't, it's their own insecurities. I see what you're saying. But I would assume they would get motivated by seeing other people do something with their lives. Like that should be motivating, not... Yeah, if you grew up with losers and you're around a bunch of people with shitty attitudes, especially in the household, I was very lucky that both my mom and my stepdad, they're the least hater people I've ever met in my life. They're just not haters in any way. Like if someone's doing well, they're always like, wow, look at this guy, or like, wow, look at her, or wow, look at him. There was never any hate in my house in terms of other people's success. But if you grew up with a dad, and your dad's like, yeah, all these rich assholes, he thinks he's a badass, and this, there's people that look at other people's success instead of saying, wow, that guy's doing a lot of work. Like the way, I'm a successful person, but the way I look at Kevin Hart, he exhausts me. Or The Rock. Those guys exhaust me. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I feel laziness, those guys. Like, they do so much. Like, those guys are so overbearingly ambitious, But some people, they see that and they compare themselves and they don't like it, so they can start getting really and it's like a natural feeling to try to chip away at that person. The worst people that you know are the people that don't have a good self-judge, that everything they do is awesome. Those people never grow anywhere, right? And that's a huge issue with comedy. When you run into people that have terrible comedy sets but think they did great. Like, we would always, Great Fitzsimmons and I would always talk about that, like open micers. Like, there's people that hear phantom laughs, like they think they're doing great, and they have this delusional self-opinion where everything they do is awesome. They don't know why they're not successful already. They don't know why they're not famous. And those people, I believe, in some sort of a weird narcissistic way, you could look at it this way, that those people are there to teach you. This is the consequences of not feeling that awful feeling when you fail. I was talking to Burr a couple weeks ago. He did a set at the Comedy Store, and I saw part of it. It was killing. And then I ran into him in the hallway, and I go, oh man, the Main Room show was great, right? And he goes, yeah, I f***ed up at the end though. I tried to hang in there too long and the last bit bombed. Like he was just, it was rotten at him at the last bit. Like he goes, I hung in there too long. I should have got off of the bit before that. And like, but when I was in there, he was killing, but that wasn't in his mind. The success was not in his mind. What was like, okay, whatever that happened at the end, let's do that again. But that's why he's Bill Burr. That's why he's really good. You're alone with your thoughts. You get an idea of what your thoughts actually are. If you live your life just acting constantly on the momentum of other people's expectations, of you wanting to be liked by these other people, you can run into a trap, and you set up a life that you didn't really want. You're trapped in this situation where you have a mortgage, you've got credit card bills, you've got student loans you have to pay, you have a bunch of shit going on you have to continue to feed. And all that, and especially if you have a family and you have to feed them, oh my goodness, then you're fully locked in. You can't take any chances whatsoever. And oftentimes people make the mistake of getting stuck. And it is just a tactical mistake, just like it would be a mistake if you got stuck in a video game. Just like it would be a mistake if you followed a map incorrectly and you get stuck in the woods. Your life is certainly some sort of a journey. It's certainly some sort of a journey. And we have to all be aware that when we're making journeys, we're not going to always make the right steps. And sometimes you have to back up and try again. And if you're in a position where you can't back up and try again, you've trapped yourself. And the system will set out honeypots for people to get trapped in. The system will set out the ideas of retirement, the ideas of the golden years, providing you benefits, providing you a healthy work environment. Why? Well, because they want people to work for them. They don't want people to realize their own dreams and escape. And yeah, so you got to hire more people and train them. And they want to set it up so that you stick around. Stick around in some sort of an unsatisfying world. It's up to you to see that video game problem. See that issue as it comes up on the map. No, things are right there. To see all the problems that could potentially lay in front of you and calculate your future. And then also look around all the people that didn't do it and look at the misery you're in and learn that you don't want to be like that. And then look at the people that have kind of taken chances and navigated their way. What do they do differently? What objectivity do they have that maybe you lack? What insight into their own mistakes are they willing to delve into that you're not, that you step back and you go, I just don't want to look at myself that closely. But the person who's able to look at themselves the closest is going to get some more rational results. One of the things that's causing this funk that people are in is that we're living our lives, many of us do, in these very unfulfilling ways. Where you're going into this office with artificial light and you're doing something you don't want to do all day long, and then you get home and you're tired. And on top of that, you're eating potato chips and you're drinking soda, and your body is just like, what in the is this? We're supposed to be out in the fields. We're supposed to be walking up hills. We're supposed to be looking for animals or gathering vegetables. We're supposed to be doing all these things that our body's designed to do. We're supposed to be in nature. Yeah. And nature is like a medicine. Like it literally is a medicine to you. And people that go, you don't have to go hunting, you don't have to go fishing, just go hike, man. Just go hike up to the top of a mountain and look out. You know, there's a reward that you get from that is intensely like soul-filling. There's like something about, like when I was in Colorado, and there was this area of Boulder where you drive up one of these roads, and there was this area where you could park. And it was this incredible view, man. And people just park and just go out there and just look. But you get there and you park and you go, because you would see, you literally see in the Continental Divide, in snow-capped mountains in July. In July, it's covered with snow. For whatever reason, most people, their associations are to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. But it's so illogical, because when you look at comfort and you look at success and progress and the feelings of accomplishment and of getting past certain hurdles in terms of like how you feel about life, a lot of those are connected to discomfort. Like discomfort is your friend. It really is. Like discomfort and not being happy and content with certain situations in life or certain feelings in life, they're massive motivators, and they're amazing at facilitating change. And yet our instinct is to avoid those and just sit on the couch and watch some reality show about dudes who make moonshine with our jaw open. Like, it's bizarre.
Dad died 13 years ago. I was 17, 2009. Worst day of my life. Age 51 years old. The AIDS. My dad been doing BGF, Black on Uniform.
It's Walmart's Black Friday deals for days. Get $87 Chromebooks and score other huge deals all week long. Shop Walmart's Black Friday deals for days.
Golfing great Bubba Watson is a husband, a dad, and of course two-time Masters champ, now adding author to his resume.
Bubba's out with a revealing and deeply personal new book. It's called Up and Down, Victories and Struggles in the Course of Life.
Yeah, and in the book, he talks about those Masters victories that we all watched, made him a household name. He also writes about the pressures of fame, the ensuing mental health struggles that nearly pushed him to quit the game that he loves and is so very good at. Bubba, thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, everybody.
And thanks for writing a book like this, because in this book, as Chanel just mentioned, it's pretty personal. You get pretty raw at times in the book. What compelled you to write it now? Why did you feel like this was a good time for us to really get to know Bubba Watson?
Well, during
That most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. But I think one of the reasons why these people have this deep-seated anger and resentment is there's a bunch of people out there that have these lives that are deeply unsatisfying, because I think there are so many people that are working all day long doing something that is deeply unsatisfying and almost painful.
Yeah, soul killing.
Soul killing. They're stuck in traffic all day, and then they're stuck in a cubicle after that. They relish the time to take a shit in the bathroom and look at their phone. I mean, they literally do that. That's a highlight of someone's day. They get in traffic on the way home. They get home after that. They're watching television, and they're. If people have a regular day job, if you could just find some one thing you do as a passion project and just keep building on it, just keep watering it, keep adding fertilizer, keep giving it attention, keep giving it focus, and you can escape. You can escape, and you can be self-serving. You can be okay. You're going to be okay. Making furniture feels good. If you make furniture for a living, and you feel a great satisfaction out of that, and you sell that furniture, look, man, if you can do that, you could cut those corners perfectly and sand everything down nice and stain it, and then it's done, and you get the satisfaction, and you sell it to someone, and that pays your bills. That is infinitely more satisfying than being stuck in some fucking cubicle working for someone that you don't want to work for, having to have these stupid office meetings, talking to people in human resources, sitting down with your supervisor where they evaluate your job performance, and you're not really, you really need to be enthusiastic about this company. This company is your future. This company, you're like, kill me now. There's a lot of people out there that would way rather do something else, and I hope they understand that they can. And people that are trapped in bad situations, one of the problems is you feel like this is your future. You feel like and you can't get out of that. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no rainbow. And if you feel like that, that alone can be incredibly defining and limiting. But if you can look at yourself objectively and say, okay, I kind of am here. I'm in credit card debt. I'm working in a shitty job. I don't like what I'm doing, but I have some ideas. I need to feed those ideas. I need to feed them and water them, and I need to set aside a certain amount of time every day to just try to make those things happen. You can do that. Everyone has a different personality. They have different interests, different things that they would be really satisfied pursuing. That's not encouraged. What's encouraged is go find a job. What's encouraged is go find some place that you can shove yourself into. Go find a square hole that you can stick your round peg and just jam it in there and shave down the top and the bottom so you slide in with all this extra space on the sides and feel like for the rest of your life, because you need a job, because you're in debt, because you have credit cards, because you have student loans, because that's what everybody does. And so you do it too. That's what's wrong. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have your mortgage. You have your this. You have your that. And that's where it all comes from. Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz, if I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian,
Download this app today.
and it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous, and most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation almost every time. It's hell. It's hell.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
Yes,
look,
you can.
I believe they
You
can.
have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author, and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. You got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something. And you know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific. I think here's an important thing too. Failure is important. It is important. I think failure teaches you things that you don't learn from success. I think failure gives you an opportunity for self-examination and also gives you a feeling that is very uncomfortable. And that very uncomfortable feeling helps you grow. That when you feel like you screw something up, like when I've had bad podcasts, my podcast has always gotten better afterwards. When I've had bad stand-up sets, I've always gotten better after that because those bad sets motivate you. They give you a perspective like, hey, here's some clear examples of where you fucked up, what not to do. Yeah, don't look at these failures as like proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities for growth. Look at them as opportunities to be motivated to do better. You have to make mistakes. You've been there, you feel it, you understand what it is, and then you have that time to adjust. That's why losing in life is so important. Whether it's getting dumped, getting fired, losing a game, loss, those feelings where things didn't work out your way, that's important because it lets you know this is the bad feeling that comes when it goes wrong and you improve, and then it makes the good feelings of victory all the better. And I mean that, in a relative sense, like even getting good at something, forget about victory, like making a terrible book that gets rejected by every publisher and then writing a really good one and people accept it and like, I got better. Yes. Like that feeling.
Interesting, yeah.
Those feelings of failure are really critical for your motivation. You see an old person walking down the street, you go, oh, that person's always been an old person. No, that was a baby. That was a baby that became a 90-year-old man. There's a progression that you're not witness to it. You don't see it. And that takes place in everything. It takes place in authors. It takes place in comedians and musicians. There's a starting point, and then with time and focus, and as long as you reevaluate and reassess and constantly objectively look at what you're doing and then pursue it with passion and focus, you get better at things. Don't be scared of failure. I think failure is awesome for you. And that's one of the reasons why, like I said, I like doing things that I suck at. I just feel like people need inspiration and they need guidelines. And as long as you could just start moving, just get action, like just movement. So for a few months, I was staying with my grandmother who was on death's door. She lived like a year or so after I moved out, and she wasn't really aware of me anymore. She was not quite there anymore. And my grandfather, who was struggling to take care of her and just seemed sad. And I remember thinking, man, this life is temporary. Like this experience that I'm experiencing right now as a 24-year-old man, like this is not going to last. Like this is the prime of my youth, and it like hardened my ideas
like, you got to get going. This is going to happen to you too. It's going to happen to all of us. And you think that you're this static thing, like you stay in the same exact state. It's not true. It's an illusion. All those people that you see that are old people that are walking down the street with their backs hunched over, that you're going to reach that age someday. It's going to happen. And if you don't pay attention, if it all goes wrong, you could wind up looking like that guy. You could wind up thinking and behaving like that guy. It is a slow ebbing of the life force of the body that's going to drain you. So, get your fun out. Get your life out. Just live. You got to live. It's fucking coming. You got to remember, because if you don't remember, you're going to sleep in. If you don't remember, you're not going to get anything done. If you don't remember, you're not going to have the same focus and determination that you would have with the understanding this is a temporary experience. Over time, I've learned that these people, you're not going to fix them. I used to want to fix them when I was young. I used to want to go, hey man, I see what you're doing. Like, dude, don't do that anymore. Listen, just do this and stop doing that and start doing this. And if you just work towards this, you could be successful. And then a week later, the guy's doing the same shit. You're like, okay, I'm wasting a significant amount of my energy on someone who doesn't want to waste any of their energy on themselves. And so managing the community and the tribe that you're in, making sure that you're a good member of that tribe, that you're doing your part. When you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better. And you get inspired, and if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled. And it's not just inspirational in terms of financial success, but in terms of doing difficult things, whether it's running 100 miles, it doesn't pay you a god thing other than the wealth of the knowledge that you can push yourself to such an extreme, or anything else, whether it's someone who becomes really good at playing chess, or someone who's really good at martial arts, or whatever it is. There's a great feeling in these overcoming these difficult things. I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue, and decisions that you're making right now, like you could be in a state of mind right now, but you can make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place. It's good to treat other people the way you'd like to be treated yourself. It's like a fucking golden rule, and there's a reason for it. And that reason is that we're connected in some strange way that we don't totally understand. And unless you are good to other people around you, unless you're kind and friendly and warm and loving, you're not going to fucking enjoy this life. You're just not. You're going to be problems everywhere you go. You're going to have problems everywhere you go. You got to figure out a way to enjoy this life. It's not because of anybody that may or may not have ever existed. It's because that's how you fit in better in the world. That's how you stay positive. And it doesn't have to be some shit that was written 5,000 years ago on fucking animal skins. That doesn't have to be the golden rule because it's old. That's dumb. We need to figure out, like, now, today, what is, the best way to live your life? What is there's got to be ways you can be putting forward the most positive energy. I mean, we know objectively what's causing pollution. We know objectively what's causing birth defects, and we're taking in too much chemicals and not enough vitamins. We know objectively all this stuff. We know how to organize our world, and yet we don't do it. We know how to organize our health, and yet very few people do it. We know all these things. The right path to, like, being, like, a happy, healthy person is to do all the shit that we already know you're supposed to do. Take care of your body. Take care of your health. Take care of your mind, your stress. Meditate, be kind to people. We all know that. When you ask anybody, they know how to get by and to be the most evolved version of you that you can be. I mean, it's not like a magical checklist. If you talk to people about it, you said, okay, here you got a person, you want to improve them. What are the things you're going to do to them? Okay, well, if I was a life coach, the first thing I would say is this guy's got to get on a diet that makes him healthy. I don't mean a diet just to lose weight. I mean just healthy food in your body, many, many vegetables. Start working out your body and get a better sense of, like, how this machine feels when it's moving, it's flowing better, there's less tension in it, your mind feels, like, relaxed, and you enjoy every single moment of the day better. Step one, everybody knows that step, right? What's step two? Be cool to people. Be nice to as many people as you can. Smile at as many people as you can. Have them smile back at you. Tip well when you go to restaurants. Just do the most you can. Be as nice as you can, and just still manage to not have people walk all over you. Just get through this life as nice as you can. Do what you want to do with your life, right? Don't go be doing something you don't enjoy. Don't do something don't get locked into, a car that you can't afford and doing something crazy because you need the money. Don't do that. Do what you want to do. Do what the is it that you really want to do? Because if someone else is doing it, you can do it, I mean, everybody makes their own path through this world, but a lot of people don't follow the path that they really feel pulled to. Just for whatever reason, they got negative programming. When they were kids, someone told them they couldn't do it, or told them to take the shortcut, or take the short route. That's a sad thing.
The only way is through.
Thing, man, when you talk to dudes, especially like talented dudes, and they don't follow up with what they want to do. It sounds like really hippie, but true happiness comes from making other people happy. True happiness comes from being around happy people and enjoying each other's company. That's really hard for people to wrap their heads around because they always associate true happiness. No, true happiness is with like titles, or numbers, or objects that you possess. You're not concerned about being nice to people. You're not concerned about having a positive impact on people. You're more concerned with making ones and zeros. But it really truly is how the human race interacts with each other. You really have to be nice to other people to be happy. You have to. If you're not, you won't be happy. And, we all make mistakes, and we all find ourselves in positions of frustration, and we've all acted out and yelled at our dog when maybe we shouldn't have. And, there's all those pressures in this life. But I think it's really important to recognize what those truly are, and to understand that at the end of it, we can alleviate a lot of how we deal with in this life if we really treated people the way we would treat them as if they were ourselves living another life. And This includes the way you communicate with people, the friendships that you have, and making sure your friends know that you love them. They drive you, they change your opinions, they challenge you, they show compassion, you open up to each other. I mean, this is everything in this life, is community. One of the things that's true is how much people enjoy being around you. That makes your life more enjoyable. And people don't think of it that way. They oftentimes think, I want to be the one that's enjoying life, like especially selfish people. If people enjoy being around you, you'll enjoy everything more. The solo effort of going through life, a narcissistic perspective, one of the major problems with that is there's no one to share it with, because you're all out for yourself. Even if you get there, you're going to be filled with sadness and despair. It's not what you want. What you want is to be happy, right? Well, I know you think that you have to be all about yourself to be happy, but in fact, that is a way to ensure unhappiness regardless of success. What I'm saying is the way you are with your family and your friends and your loved ones and the people you communicate with, get better at that, because we need each other. Love is the most important thing. That sounds so cliche, but without love, it's all useless. A lot of people say, I just want to they're kind of dabbling in the idea of improving themselves. And the real way to do it is you got to write down what the you want and then go after it. Because otherwise you live in sort of a wishy-washy world. If you decide, I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, whatever the f*** it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it. What I tell people is the best advice that I've ever heard, the best advice I ever came up with, is that live your life like you're the hero in your movie. And right now is when the movie starts and your life is a shitbag disaster, like every fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he wakes up and makes a blender full of pizza and ice cream. That's what you know what I mean? Yeah. Those guys were like on the brink, they put the gun in their mouth and they put it down because they see a photo of their daughter. Pretend that's you. Pretend you are, right now, you are in the part of the movie that starts and it shows you as a fucking loser. And just decide not to be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior. Do what you would want to do so that your kids one day would look back at it and see that documentary and look on it with pride. Like, wow, my dad was a bad motherfucker. He really did what he had to do. Wow, my mom really got her together. I love a success story But even more than a success story, I like a dude who fucks his life up and then gets it back together again story. Those are my favorite stories. And the way to do that, you gotta write it down. You gotta think that you are the hero in your own movie, and then you gotta sit down and you gotta write it down. And write down what you need to do.
Most people play the role of the victim in the movie, right?
Sure. Yeah, this life is fucking me over, man. I could have had this and I should have had that. And why does this guy get that? And why does that guy get this? And all things that are completely unrelated to you. Yeah. All things that you find other people's success is a downfall in your own existence. Instead of being inspired, instead of choosing to be positive, instead of like improving constantly on the direction of trying to achieve whatever you have written down, you just sit around and spiral. You know, there's nothing more miserable than sitting around someone who's complaining all the time. It's one of the most annoying things ever. Everybody hates it. When someone just sits around and they complain about their life and they don't do jack about it. And you tiptoe around it. You don't know what to say. Well, she gets upset when you bring that up. I don't want to bring that up. And you want to go, you fucking crazy, you know what's wrong with your life. Yeah. Stop announcing it to everybody else and go out and fix that.
Well, when I was 21 and I was first starting to do comedy, that's when I was really devouring as much of it as possible. Because I was trying to figure out, like, how to not be so lazy, how to be motivated, how to get done, and how to like find the correct path and think about things correctly. I would follow all this personal power, like you have workshops that you would do, like little like notebooks and shit, fill out and things to talk about and things to concentrate on. Like if you did do it, it would help you. But really what it's all about is just getting together and moving. Just go do something. Just doing it. Just doing it makes you do more. Like do more hard makes you do more hard. Understand that you want it bad, so you're willing to put in work and do things you don't want to do. It's what makes you have that confidence that you know how to push through, and the mentality that I'm the type of dude to get done. Like I'm not gonna waste my day just sitting around a hotel room. No, I'm gonna go to work. That's what I feel like is missing from a lot of people that are getting into motivational this and motivational that. They ain't doing shit. You gotta go do something. That's the number one thing, right? Is action. Take action. Well, I think the one thing that discipline definitely does help you with is it helps you get things done. And when you get things done, when you actually do things, you have more success. If you have more success, and sometimes a big part of success is just not being lazy and just doing it. Yeah. It's like 90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like you're not gonna feel perfect every day. If I only worked out when I felt good, I'd be a fat fuck. Because there's a lot of days I don't want to do it. I mean, it's pretty much the same with everybody that actually gets good at something. There's got to be those days you push through, and they're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline in my eyes has always been that through discipline I get things done. I always say that I'm like the most lazy, disciplined person I know because I don't want to do it. Yeah, but I always do. You know, and you have to sit down, you have to overcome resistance, and that the pro goes to work. And it doesn't matter if you're sick, it doesn't matter if you have kids, it doesn't matter what you're a pro, and you go to work, and that just it puts it in your head that this is what I do. This is what, and you have pride in that. You know, and you're doing the work, and out of that work, gems blossom. Little things, but you might have a day when you just write nothing but dog. So what? Show up again tomorrow, and tomorrow out of that dog, a flower will emerge. You never know, and that's the only way to really develop your potential 100% in anything.
To all you folks who have recently discovered the joy of life out here, welcome from your new neighbors at Tractor Supply. We've got all the supplies you'll need to make your corner of out here feel miles away from in there. Tractor Supply, everything for life out here.
Northern California, nigga.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Unless you want average in America, married, 2.4 kids with 1.5 dogs. But I can guarantee you, you will never achieve anything greater than your highest aspiration. If you want $1 million, you'll make $1 million, not $1.5 million. You want 10 million, 100 million, and you'll never exceed that. If you change 1 billion lives, that's a formula to become a billionaire and change the world. Time costs lives. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. You want to know why you're off? Stop. Just look at the bums you hang around with. I do what you don't want to do, that you know that you got to do to be where you want to be. Ted Turner just gave his 75th anniversary party on CNN a few months ago. And he makes a couple of comments, and he says, number one, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody. It's how I live, though. First 10 years of my starting CNN, I slept on my couch. I didn't have an apartment. Bill Gates slept in the office. Steve Jobs slept in the office. And I can go down a whole list. Now, these are super successful, mega wealthy guys. I slept in my office. Not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. But it's not the only thing. But even if you don't sleep in your office, if you want to send your kids to a better school, if you want to be able to take care of your mother when she gets dementia, if you want to do, this all takes money. My children aren't getting any of my money when I die. Not one centavo, not one penny. And two of my kids are cool with it. One of them's not so cool with it. I'm not going to, I think Andrew Carnegie, by the way, Andrew Carnegie, arguably the richest, most successful entrepreneur of all time, he said the best thing that you can have for a child is him to be born into poverty. And I agree. Lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. Now, they think they have self-worth. They think because they made a few bucks. But in actuality, and when they measure it against the other 8, 10, 12 people sitting around the table, they realize, or they start to question, hell, maybe I was just lucky. Now, all of us, when you're only a one-trick guy or gal, think, was I lucky? Now, I've done it so many times, I know I wasn't lucky. I might have been lucky the first time, but I haven't been lucky the 15, 20, 40, 50. I know that. Okay. But maybe I was lucky the first time. But my life changed when I was pretty much a haphazard kid, got in a lot of trouble, got arrested 4 or 5 times, thrown in jail. And this was when my dad's a cop. But then I volunteered for the draft in 1966 at the height of the Vietnam War, and I went to OCS, and that changed my life because it was the really first real high-performance thing that I could measure myself against with other people. 2/3 of all Fortune 500 CEOs have one thing in common: military background. 2/3 of those 2/3 have something else: martial arts. What do you learn in martial arts, Brian? Discipline, focus. A lot of people don't believe they deserve to be there. I convince them, and we have these drills, why you belong there. A lot of people that come there, with money, that have made money, think they made it by accident. I just had one of my superstars who's made $100 million tell me in the last week, I'm not sure I'm going to have another lucky accident. And I said, you did it. I mean, you tried a lot of things. I believe Thomas Edison, I wouldn't have done it 10,000 times.
Okay.
I would have hired an engineer from MIT to do it. But I mean, I've tried a lot of things. Nobody's failed at more things than I have. And the first 100 million are successes, but I could write a book about failures that would be, because I've tried a lot of different things. Because failure is just testing. And one of the reasons I've been so successful in generating this equity and value in my kids, and I call you all kids, is because I convince them that making a mistake is okay. Your parents probably told you, you can be anything you want. But you can't. One absolute infinite possibility. Install it now.
He's sitting outside.
That's push. You can't. If it's all juxtaposed. So, but what you tell them is that you can do anything you want that you have passion for, because that eliminates most of the crap. Because most people don't follow their dream. You know, like they say in The Sound of Music, you can't have a dream come true unless you have a dream. Now, I still dream. I dream in Technicolor. I say my affirmations and goals every single night. It's bloody hard to be a high-performance person. Perfection equals paralysis. If you left it to engineers, no car would ever come off the assembly line. No car would ever come off the assembly line. And I've been in business with enough engineers, I can attest to that with my hand on my heart. They'd still be trying to make it better. And the internet business is very much the same. The internet kids want to test and test and test, and they want the landing page to be this, and roll it out. The great thing about the internet is your results are instantaneous. If something that I'm overseeing at the Concord level, 60,000 feet, doesn't work in 2 days, forget about it, move on. And today at our meeting, now the young kids are, we ran it 3 days, sir, and we closed it down. And they are thinking I'm going to ask why. I said, no, that's fine, next. Because without them making mistakes and without them being allowed to make the decision, they never get any better. And 95% of the time, I know probably better than they do. We're never going to be able to know everything or have them know everything unless they make some mistakes and get comfortable with making mistakes. What gets measured gets accomplished. Without measurement, you're just fooling yourself. Before I had any money, I used to go to the Rolls Royce dealers and sit in the cars and smell the leather, touch the leather, okay? I went to $1 million houses, and my wife and I would walk through the house, and they'd say, when are your parents getting here, kids? No, we are the buyers. Practice within when you're without. Practice being successful. How many people listening to this today practice being successful today? Through affirmations, through going to the Rolls Royce dealer, maybe Lamborghini, and then maybe something else. In my particular case, it was Rolls Royce. And within a year of me going to the Rolls Royce dealer, I had a Rolls. Okay? Within 19 months of me dreaming and adding it to my goals, a castle on an island, I only got through castle. 19 months.
Okay.
Go to stores you can't afford. Go hire lawyers you can't afford. Lawyers will meet with anybody. Accountants will meet with anybody. Go to the big four accountants with a business idea. The first couple meetings are for free. Jettison probably a lot of the people you hang around with. If you have poor public speaking skills, join Toastmasters. Do these. If you really went to a good school and you're not successful, go to the alumni deals. Okay? I didn't go to a good school. I'm a perfect living example that a lot of trouble as a kid, working class background, my parents, went to just a mediocre university that I flunked out of 3 times before I finally graduated with honors, but and had no money to begin with, $820. So it's all possible. But I devoted myself to feeling successful. I was wearing suits like this before I could afford them. Most people procrastinate because they're unsure, so just do it. And but I've never had a problem just doing it. Because one of the things that you learn as a young combat infantry officer is time costs lives. We overanalyze because we're unsure. We're not overanalyze. We don't overanalyze because we are not sure if it'll work or not. We're more worried about, on the emotional side, it embarrassing us.